So there are people that think hell is going to be a party. And there's like an alarming number of people who think that too. And I just have to ask, why do you think that? Why? What makes you think that? Where are you getting that from? Why are you so sure of that? Are you sure of that? Or is that just what you want it to be? It's what you want it to be, right? Because when you start looking at hell as some kind of good thing, as some kind of fun event where you're just endlessly partying with your friends, just having the greatest time ever, just nothing but good times, aren't you just describing heaven? Like, people want to go to heaven, but they don't want to believe in God. Why would you believe in hell if you don't even believe in God? Alright? When people say, oh, I'm perfectly fine with going to hell, if I'm going there, which you are, if you don't accept the man above, that's the rules, that's how it works. But, it doesn't matter if you don't like that, or whatever your mindset is with that. Like, as much as you try to put it away and ignore it and just be like, well, maybe at some point maybe I'll choose to believe in God or look into it at some point, but some point becomes a little later, and eventually you're like, I don't even care anymore. Like, maybe I'll get to it. Probably not, though. If I die, I die. Who cares? I care. You better believe God cares. When you say hell is a party, do you realize what that means? Do you realize what you're saying? I'm trying to find the logic in that. Alright? Now bear with me. When you say hell is a party, how is that any different from saying, I want to go to prison because prison will finally bring me freedom? Where's the logic in that? How is prison going to make you free? It's not. It's going to do the opposite of that. It's going to make you're going to be a slave to nothingness. You're just going to be there in prison, just dying of boredom and just, and I've never been to prison, and I know that some are different than others, and they're a little nicer than maybe they should be. But regardless, just know prison doesn't bring you freedom. It's the same way with hell. There's not going to be any freedom in hell, and there's certainly not going to be any kind of partying. You're not even going to see anyone there. You're just going to be alone, without God. Hell is the complete absence of God, and wanting to go there it's like wanting to go headfirst in a car crash. Why would you want that? Why would you ever see that as a good thing? And that should terrify you. If that doesn't terrify you, that terrifies me that doesn't terrify you. It's like, it's hard to talk about, right? Because it's like, what's scarier than hell? There's nothing scarier than deserving hell, which we all deserve hell. There should be nothing scarier than these words, depart from me, I never knew you. That's what God's going to say to you. And the Bible even tells us that you're not going to disagree. You're not going to say that was unfair. You're going to know. You're just going to know that you deserve that. And that's where you're going to have to spend the rest of everything. There's no coming back from hell. That's it. You don't get another chance after that. God's given you so many chances every single day. And yet you still say, I don't want that. I don't want gifts. I don't want love. I don't want kindness. I just want hell, and I want to be with the devil, and I want to hug him, and the devil doesn't even care about you. Are you not even getting that? Why would you want to serve someone that hates you? He's trying to tear your life apart. Everything that's going wrong, the devil just loves it when you suffer. That's what hell is suffering. Why would you want more suffering? People want to take their lives all the time because they want to feel better. They want to be in a better place. They just want to be free of all this suffering. If you don't know God, you are not going to end suffering. It's going to be so much worse. And if you don't want to accept God, that is not a comfort to you. And it is not meant to be. If this is harsh, just know that it's in love, because there is nothing more loving than telling you that you don't have to go there. You don't have to want to go there. You know, it's tough because I understand that there's a lot of people that weren't as fortunate, they weren't as blessed as me to grow up in a Christian home, to be raised the way a child should be, understanding God's love at a young age. Because when you grow up in a family that wants nothing to do with God, chances are you're going to grow up just like them. And I can't imagine growing up like that. I don't know where I would be if I did, you know? So to that I say, some of you might hate God or not believe in God or want to go to hell or whatever, just due to not understanding. Just, you're not able to comprehend it. And I get that, you know? Maybe it was just never explained to you. Maybe if it was explained to you, you just wrote it off as some fairy tale. It sure sounds a lot like a fairy tale, and that's kind of the point. That's what makes it faith, is that if you don't want to believe, you're not going to believe, because it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that someone would love you so much that they would send their own son as flesh and blood to die the most gruesome death. Did you know the cross wasn't even the most gruesome part? He was unrecognizable before he even got on that cross. They were beating him and torturing him so much, even before they even hung him up on that. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. And the fact that he wasn't even a sinner. The only one of us, the only human being that never did anything wrong. And they gave him... He was having a hard time even breathing because there was so much blood filling his lungs. He had to keep shifting his weight on those nails. There was like a nail that just, like, with his 2 feet, there was one nail in between both of them. And he had to keep shifting his weight. It was so uncomfortable. It was so unbearable. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that can you imagine that there were actually people that put him on the cross and were laughing at that? And that they didn't see the evil in themselves doing that. They saw an innocent man in the most gruesome death, and they just laughed at it. They just laughed at Jesus. And the fact that Jesus, also being God, was fully capable at any time of coming down from that cross. But he knew to do that, to shed that blood, was so that we could have a way not into hell. That's the point. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of Jesus being here. That's the whole point of the cross, is to give us salvation. And to people who say, well, what about the people before Jesus was here? Surely God wouldn't let them all go to hell, or would he? No. You guys don't understand. Christianity isn't some somewhat recent concept, you know? God has always been here from the beginning. All Christianity is believing in God. There's a lot of people that don't understand that. And there's so much you're not going to understand about Christianity because you're not involved with it. You don't read the Bible. You don't take time to check out his word to see what he tells us. He gives us all the answers to all the questions you're asking. But you'll always keep asking them because you don't want to believe the answers in the book. And so your answers will never be fulfilled if you just say no to them. God loves you. The whole point is that no one should go to hell. I hope you don't. I hope this helps someone.